My grandma.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
All right, I'm gonna press the go live button here. So it should be live on Facebook in the next few seconds. All right, here we go in three, two, one. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sports Medicine Broadcast, a podcast to promote and improve your practice as an athletic trainer. It is March 3rd, so we're celebrating National Athletic Training Month. So happy National Athletic Training Month. And as a parent, I talk often on the podcast just about my life as a parent. However, I have a wife, we have 3 kids, and a foster daughter. And there's no way I could do what I do as an athletic trainer without my wife. There's no way I could manage the family and all the stuff I have to do here at work, and certainly not do them both well because I couldn't do one of them really well without the other. But Dr. Erin Hassler has been living that life for a while, so she has earned her DAT, and then she's been on the podcast a couple of times. So she's brought a couple of friends as well who are single mom athletic trainers. So Paula Cook is a friend we go way back who used to cause trouble sitting in the back of the GHATS meetings. Shondra Abner is a classmate of Dr. Erin Hassler, and we have an AT student at USF. She goes by Kai. It's Chakaia Miles, right? And she said she just goes by K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, I usually mess up the names. Just I don't know what it is, but so Kay is a student at USF, and once she graduates, she'll be a full-time athletic trainer, and then her daughter there will be staying with her. And so these women are athletic trainers or in the process of becoming, and they are also moms and doing it by themselves. So first of all, thank you for improving the profession. Thank you for taking care of your family and raising those kids to love and respect others. So this is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single mom ATs. Again, sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single mom ATs, where we'll have contact information for each of these ladies down at the bottom. So without much further ado, Dr. Erin Hessler, let's start off with you. What is your AT story? How did you get into athletic training? And then we'll let everybody get a chance to go.
Morning. So I am in my 21st year of athletic training out of school, and I went to school in Atlanta. I've always been in math and science magnet classes, and from elementary all the way up to high school. So I was like a math and science nerd, and still am, and always a tomboy. Always playing a sport, always running around, digging worms, wrestling, whomever, racing in the street. And when I got to college, I just kind of put those things together. I think it was probably the Olympics in Atlanta, 96. I was running in college and saw like a short little story on the news where they were talking about the background roles that kind of were a part of the Olympic movement, and they were talking about the medical staff. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I think I can do that. And I guess the rest is history. So that's my short story. I can always make it longer. So just let me know.
That'll work. That gives us a pretty good intro, good starting point. All right, Paula, I have you next on my list. How did you get into athletic training?
Absolutely. So it's been 20 years for me outside of college, but I will say it's been 28 years that I have been in the athletic training um, world. And so I live in Texas. And so in Texas, there are student athletic trainers because we were fortunate enough to have athletic trainers at our schools. And so I actually started athletic training when I was 13 years old. I did not like PE, and so I did my darndest to do cheerleading and basketball, any team that I could get on. So I didn't have to take PE. And I was a cheerleader, and I jumped down a flight of stairs before the playoff game. And I had to go to the athletic trainer because I was going to cheer in that game. And that's when I found it. I'm like, oh my God. I am missing it. This is where I need to be. So it was my ninth grade year. So from ninth grade year all the way till today, I've been an athletic trainer, and it's been amazing, all through high school, all through college, and all through my professional life. So that's my story.
Did you cheer in the game?
Absolutely, I did. And I was a little boy crazy too. So it was about being closer to the guys in the training room. And that whole story will unfold later, which is why I single parented. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
All right. Kate, I got you next on my list. Let's get to your story.
Okay. So basically, long story short, I was an athlete, same way. I got injured a lot actually, because I played ball year round. Got really close with my athletic trainer in high school. She taught me how to tape ankles. I did the whole water thing for our football team. Kind of fell in love with it. Knew that's what I wanted to do when I went to school. I went to Tennessee State for undergrad, for athletic training, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. But because it wasn't accredited at TSU, I was going to have to go to an entry level grad program. Um, Fell in love, got engaged, was waiting on him to graduate because I graduated a year before him. So I went ahead and went to grad school for exercise science, and life happened, had a baby. And then I was like, okay, well, when she gets older, I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish because this is what I wanted to do. So again, life happened. We split, went our separate ways, our co-parenting. And then I was like, my daughter's going to be older. I'm going to move to Florida and I'm going to go to grad school. I'm going to get my certification and we're going to do it. And so we moved here I was here for a year, and then grad school started, and it was kicking my behind my first year, trying to juggle and do everything. So we decided that it would work better for her to kind of go back and forth between us. And then COVID happened. So the whole virtual school kind of helped in a way for me to be able to still have access to her. So she came back while COVID was happening, and she just left in November to go back with dad. So get ready for boards and BOC stuff.
Gotcha. And then you are slated to graduate in May, so good luck with that.
Yes, I schedule my boards on the 16th, and I take them somewhere between the 27th and April 10th, and that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. All right, and
For
then
this.
Miss Miles, what is your AT story? I'm sorry, no, Miss Miles. I'm sorry, I mixed up the last name, Miss Abner. To Shondra, what is your AT story?
Mine's that's Dr. Abner.
Forgive me. Let me try again. Dr. Abner, would you please share your AT story?
My story is similar to Paula. I was born and raised in Florida, and sports are big here. We always have, or at least I can't say always, but the high school that I went to had an athletic trainer on staff, which was not just an athletic trainer, but she was a close family friend that I'd known since I was elementary school. So I was probably, during that day and time, I was probably one of the few elementary students that knew what an athletic trainer was. And by the time I got to high school, she was my ride to and from school. So I didn't really have a choice but to join the athletic training club that we had at the high school. So I started at the high school level as well. I danced and cheered and played other sports, but during my off season, I always helped Miss Samani, that was our athletic trainer. And then I knew from the beginning, just seeing that world, I knew I always wanted to do something in the medicine field. When I was younger, I thought maybe pediatrician because I always wanted to work with, kids and youth. But then I started thinking about, the, having to give shots and making them upset. And when athletic training kind of revealed itself, and I was like, I love sports. My family is a huge sports fanatic group. And if I could mix medicine and sports together, and I could watch my favorite sports and not even have to pay to see them, and I get paid to watch them, I was like, bet, this is the career I wanted to do. So I went to Lenore University in North Carolina to receive my undergrad degree, because back then, as y'all all know, there wasn't that many accredited schools around. But like a true Floridian, I thought it was way too cold up there. So as soon as I graduated, the person I was dating at the time, who was then my fiance, I convinced him to move back to Florida. And we got married. We were married for about 7 years. During that time, I went to grad school at UCF, started working at the high school level as an athletic trainer within Orange County. And around the seventh, eighth year, we finally were pregnant, super excited. But unfortunately, during the pregnancy, he realized that he, didn't want to be part of the family anymore. So I, started from day one with my daughter. Even when she was an infant, I would have her in the baby bajon, strapped in, covering games, because daycares don't stay open till 10 o'clock. So that's my story.
All right. So you are currently in Florida, Dr. Abner. Are you still working at a high school?
No, I left the high school about 2 years ago. Once I realized, because they kept adding sports. I'm not sure how it is over there, but we were up to 36 sports with freshman JV varsity, and I decided to leave when they decided to throw in beach volleyball as a sport that we had to cover as well. So I was like, even though I had two assistants with me, it was still a lot of nights, a lot of coverage, as well as teaching on top of it. So I left the high school about 2 years ago, started teaching online. Absolutely love it. So now I could go and watch all my daughter play in all of her soccer and basketball games that she's now interested in because she's 11. And I teach at a university as well, adjunct. And then I pick up freelance work at Disney when they have events at Wide World of Sports, and I do a lot with Special Olympics.
All right, very good. Kay,
Yeah.
your end goal would be to work where?
So I am actually, long-term wise, I would like to do semi-pro basketball. I would love to end up in G League type deal. However, graduating, I am going through it at the moment, trying to figure out what setting is going to work best for me and my daughter. I was always set on thinking that I was going to have to do clinical setting like hospital or post-op type stuff just because I need something Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 while she's at school, because I don't have any family or friends here in Florida. Like it literally was, I'm going to do this and we just going and we'll figure it out. So, yeah, right now I literally just was talking to my preceptor actually yesterday because they have high schools that are going to have open positions. And I've actually fell in love with the high school setting since I've been here. But the fact that Friday we had a game until 10:30 and I don't get home until like 11:30, it's just me trying to figure out what is going to be conducive for me and my daughter, because though some schools allow you to bring, your child and she can stay, it will be perfect. However, I am also used to having my daughter on a schedule, which does not work for our lifestyles. So I'm literally really just trying to figure it out as far as right now, like what I'm going to do. I know what I want to do long term and, figuring out the process to get there. But I'm struggling with trying to figure out what I'm going to do right now, because she'll be back with me full time and I don't want to miss out on, I feel like right now I've already missed out on a lot because I've been in school for these 2 years and it has literally taken up everything that I have no free time to do anything. So right now that is where I'm struggling trying to, and me and Miss Erin have talked about it a few times. Like she has heard a lot of my struggles and trying to help me, because I have no village here and it is definitely difficult. So I didn't really answer your question because I don't have an answer I'm going to do right now.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, you still got some time to figure it out. Yeah. So we know what you want to do, and then you just got to figure out the path to get there. So, all right, Paula, you're currently in the hospital setting and the outreach. So what does your job look like right now?
Yes. So it's changed a little bit since COVID. And I have been at Methodist for 10 years. And in this setting, and my job is different every year. We in the corporate setting, we don't have summers, so it just kind of goes. So I call it every year I have something different from a school assignment perspective. So the first 5 years that I was here, I was assigned to a private school. And during the day, we did business development things like health fairs and, visiting schools and talking to the community, letting them know we were here for their students, for their student athletes. And then in the evening, I would about 3 o'clock go to the private school and either do injury clinic or sports coverage. And so that was my life for that amount of time. And then after that, I moved over to sports performance coordinator. And I didn't actually have a school. So I was able to move around the community and kind of fill in where needed, but also start a sports performance program, which was really awesome, and help to coordinate that. So I also have a master's in educational leadership, because at the time I was like, oh, okay, we're going to transfer. Being a single mom, needed something a little more stable. So I thought, and then I got offered this position at Houston Methodist, and it has been a little easier in the hospital setting, to what Kay was saying, to juggle. But there's still sports coverage, and we're still at the games. Like last night, I didn't get done until 9:30. Um, I will say to Kay that a village is so critical in this situation. So critical. And my heart goes out to you anywhere that you can find, or when you settle, to find a village, because unfortunately, we have to be honest with the way this job is set up. It's going to be late nights, and unless you're working in a clinical setting like you said, and working for a doctor where you're basically like an MA type situation, athletic training is just not going to happen 8 to 5. Man, I wish it would,
Right.
because it would be
Yeah.
so, man. But it's just not. And I will say, being a single parent, and we can talk on it a whole nother day, but I'm on divorce number 2. And so I've had, some a little bit of help every now and then. However, still, my parents have been my rock from the beginning. And then pairing up with people like Erin to, be able to communicate with, and we tag team and we, lift each other up. But I tell you, sweet love, please try to find somewhere where you can get a village, get close to
Mhm.
somewhere. My son's father is in Georgia, and like you with the virtual, I got a chance to send him to see his dad and to kind of hang out there. But that was what, a month and a half. I'm mama. I'm the primary, so it gets a little rough and tough. But I will tell you, the what has gotten me through and what has allowed me to continue my career up the success ladder has been that village. So gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Mhm.
All right, Paula,
Yeah.
we're going to come right back to you with the story that you kind of teased us with, hanging out in the training room, loving the boys. But I want to hear Dr. Erin Hassler. What is your current employment situation?
Everywhere, all the time. Um, so I have a sports medicine consulting practice. A part of it is clinical, some of it is leadership and education. Um, I also have a nonprofit, and we underwrite some activities, which is how I met Kay. We host some activities, one of them being the Sisterhood Mixer, which coincides with NATA. And you and I talked about that before, Jeremy. Um, my I'm here now, but my my day job is as a high school health science instructor, and that's really allowed me to match my schedule with my kid's schedule. He's in the 10th grade now. As a high school athlete, we're in the same district, so we get off at the same time. We would go into school at the same time versus me having to go on the other side of town where we used to live, which is closer to Paula, be at school at 7 or 5:30, depending on what is needed, and then have to figure out his schedule. Now we're able to pretty much follow the same schedule. So that's where I am right now. I also um, teach adjunct for a graduate program online. So that's the employment situation. Um, Kai, we're gonna get on you today. We're gonna talk to you today, but I'm gonna stay on Jeremy's schedule. So
All right, Paula,
Let me help you out.
give us the dirty details.
So, I love guys, and it's so I mean I just do, and so I love people, and guys are part of the people, right? And so, what I noticed, and all jokes aside, what I did find in the training room that really fascinated me and drew me in was the opportunity to not just cheer for them, go fight, win, but to actually be part of them being the athlete, to actually be a part of them doing their best and being on that field and taping that ankle and watching them perform, and maybe putting them in the ice bucket, and okay, when they get out, now we can do rehab, and showing that my exercises, oh, that I stood there and counted out, now they're actually running again, and then going from limping to running. I mean, so that is what really amazed me. Of course, yes, so we'll keep that, we'll keep it PC. However, that was what was really fascinating, and then just being able to be up close and have a more personal relationship with them and learning about them. Athletes have a lot of psychological pressures, and it was neat as it just even a high school student just understanding what they go through every day, and how an athletic trainer plays such a big part in facilitating peace and performance and everything that they need to be the best. And so, I mean, it was just fascinating. And it was fascinating to see your work in the training room be played out on the field in their arena. So that's what I meant by I like the boys. And yeah, they can definitely hear
Is
my
it?
voice. Huh?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is
And
it?
yes, and they can definitely
I
hear my
love you.
voice a lot stronger. You know my story, Erin. They can definitely hear my voice a lot stronger, even as though yelling as a cheerleader, they could hear me in the training room, being up close, and being able to have that personal relationship to drive them forward. So that's it, Jeremy.
All right, so it sounded like you were wanting to get into some mentoring here for Kay. So I know I just recently talked with Alan Parcels. He's at Amazon, and he was talking about how that is great for the hours as far as athletic training because it is a 9 to 5. However, he also mentioned with industrial, there's a lot of missed treatments. Like you don't treat them. You don't do a lot of hands on. So there's a lot of skills that you learn as an athletic trainer that you don't do. You do a lot of paperwork. You do um, risk reduction, and then you're basically passing them on, and you have to learn all the OSHA stuff. So that is an option, but I don't know if that's where you want to go. So you got something to say? Go ahead, Kay.
So I have actually thought about it. I've actually been in contact because they actually I started looking for jobs, and Amazon was one of them that came up. It wasn't a position actually for a certified athletic trainer. It was for an injury specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, money wise, Amazon starts out beautifully when it comes to, especially when you've been broke for a very, very long time. So I've definitely considered it. My struggle with it is, for one, location. The one Amazon that actually is hiring for a certified is in Orlando. And then two, and I know, and that's anyway, that's another thing. And two, I just don't want to be bored. I don't know if body correction and ergonomics is going to be something that I will be able to do long term. And so that is another one of my struggles because I I feel like I don't want to sacrifice me enjoying going to work. Like I don't want to sign up for something and hate going every day because I've already sacrificed a lot. Like I know I look a little young, but I've been, fighting this fight to get what it is that I want, and which is athletic training. And this has been 15 years that, I've had to put some stuff on hold. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'm gonna catch you right in there.
Mm-hmm.
This part is not athletic training. This is what we talked about before. So we're gonna grab our words
Okay.
and we're gonna put them in the direction we want to go. We're
Okay.
just gonna rewind and put them in the direction you want them to go in,
Okay.
because all of us on this one call, all of us, we love sports, right? We love sports. We love the excitement. We love the adrenaline. We love our athletes. But the one thing that makes us great is that we make the adjustment. So when you look at a job, when you look at life, when you look at whatever the plan is, take it like a rainout game. You have to reschedule. You have to rethink how you do it. You still got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But the blessing in it is that everything's temporary, right? So we do whatever we need to do until what? Christmas break. Then we do something again until we make it to spring break. Then we do it again, and then we got summer for a little bit. Like if you look at life in chunks, it's not gonna be so big. You'll be able to manage whatever it is, whatever the job is, because think about how different everything is in the last 12 months, right? We literally are right on the 12-month mark this week of when the country got shut down, right? So literally everything's changed. How we do school, how we go to the grocery store, how we whatever, everything's changed, and we're still here. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to think, what do athletic trainers do? We adapt, we adjust, and that's all the time. And I know as a parent, you want to be the perfect parent, but the truth is, kids adjust too. And if they
Mm-hmm.
see you adjust, they adjust too. All you got to do is make sure they know you care about them, and then that's it. I don't make promises. That's where I start. I don't make a promise. The only promise I can make to you is I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna make sure we have somewhere to live that's clean because I just can't stand it. I can't stand dirty. I can't do it. And and I'm gonna love you. That's it. That's all I got. I have nothing else that I can promise you. That's
Right.
it.
I agree.
Yeah, you're gonna ride with me, and that's it.
Right.
And I think I'm on the backside of it. So not the backside, but at a different stage at it. So I can tell you that if you do those things, you will be all right. Go ahead. Hey, Doc.
I was just gonna say, from my daughter's aspect, when I told her that I was leaving the high school, she was completely bummed. As a mother, I kept thinking, she's missing out. I can't get her to the sports practices that she wants to play. I can't get her to this because I'm covering this event. Um, but in her eyes, because that's how she was brought up, she knew mommy was picking her up after school. We were going to the athletic training room. My student athletic trainers were going to help her with homework. She got to have fun setting up water and things like that for the game. And she hung out and, on the field with us when we covered the game. She didn't know anything different. She didn't realize she was missing anything out. To her, she didn't understand why other people didn't get to do that. Why don't you get to go to work with your mom all the time? Why don't you get to hang out? For the longest time, I will say she thought she was a high schooler. She was ready to go to prom. She wanted to go to homecoming because she was always around that atmosphere. And so I only had to make, like, Erin said, I didn't make the adjustment to my career until she got to the age where sports needed to be a little bit more competitive. And she did need to, not just that, weekend practice and game following. She actually needed those, couple extra nights practicing or, going to swim so that she could be, good in the swim competition, those nightly practices. That's when I finally made my adjustment and everything. And, now it's 2 years in and, it's a new normal for us. And that's what I always talk about. Everything's a new normal. It's an adjustment. There's always going to be, no matter what job you look at, it's always going to be some aspects that, you probably don't really care about. Like, I worked in the high school forever. I wasn't the biggest fan of teaching. Like, I used to tell my students all the time, I'm only here for athletic training, but I have to teach you these 2 periods. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go back to my real job. Like, I would start class like that all the time. And there's always small aspects, but I mean, you have to give some to, to take some. And that's going to be in any career that you want to do. There's no perfect job out there.
I agree. I honestly never even thought about it, I guess, like from that standpoint. Like, I just, being a military brat, I've always been used to structure. And even though I know in this field that I've had to adjust with this, but I didn't have her being, undergrad. I was first attempting to do this type of stuff. So looking at it, I guess, from that perspective, I've never looked at it from, like that. So that does help a lot.
So, I mean, she loved it. She made new friends,
Dr. Abner, we mentioned the tribe, having your people around you that can help pick up the
Yes.
kids or support you, even just encourage you. Talk a little bit more about what that looks like and how you've developed that.
It really started, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of teaching, that's where I kind of found my tribe foundation because we all were young. We all started off, we opened a brand new school. And so we were there from the get go. So we were kind of all around the same age. We all had gotten married around the same time. And at the time, the school only had 2 certified athletic trainers, and we actually got pregnant the same year, like, because we just planned everything together. So that was fun telling our principal we were doing maternity leave at the same time. But that was my tribe, like other teachers that I met just in the hallway, us talking, asking questions, oh, this didn't happen during the pregnancy, or even like when we just talk about marriage stuff, that's truly my tribe where I met my best friend. And, those are the people, all of our kids are roughly around the same age. Some are a little older than my daughter, but those are the people I will always ask different advice and questions to over the years. And, if you look at my daughter's record at school, those are the people that are allowed to pick her up from school. And if emergency happens and I couldn't get to her, those are her emergency contacts. And that was my first set of tribes that I found. My second one, actually, I call them my mommy squad. These were the individuals that I met through my daughter. These were individuals that were kids that were all in my child's DPK and daycare, and we didn't really know each other until we all ended up at the same elementary school. And then we're like, wait, I think I have a picture of your kid when they were like 2 playing with my kid, and there's like 7 of us. And so now we have that group too, and that's nice because those all are people that live around us. So those are the people I run to. I'm like, I can't get Z. Can somebody go pick her up from school? All right, you have drop off. Okay, I'll grab your kids next week. And, so I met my second tribe of moms through my daughter, through her friends and her parents, and getting to know them, and, us having play dates, and then it turned into mommy play dates. And, we kind of sometimes we'll do our play dates without the kids, just to have some of that break time. But I cannot say you need a village, you need a tribe, you need that, person for good and bad. When you get excited about something, you want somebody to hurry up and call, and somebody's going to run over to your house and pop a champagne bottle with you and celebrate. And then if it's a bad situation, you need somebody that's going to hold you. And I think I'm fortunate that I have those 2 distinct groups that I could run to and that I could always call no matter what time it is.
I was going to say something too, Jeremy, if I can. Thanks for having us here today. But one of the things I wanted to make sure that I express is that I don't even call myself a single mom, because I think oftentimes it comes with a connotation of I'm missing something, or I'm struggling in some way, or how will I make this happen? And so it comes from like the reverse of my optimistic mindset, right? So, well, I mean, who are you to tell me I can't do anything? That's just kind of that's like my sweet spot. Like, okay, you're telling me I can't do something? Okay, watch me. So I don't even own that. If anybody even tries to put me in a single mom category, but I mean, Jeremy's my guy, right? So I'm not offended. I'm not offended at all. I'm like, if Jeremy wants to talk about it, whatever Jeremy wants to talk about, we'll talk about. But I don't own it, because from the beginning, it always looks like I'm missing something or I need something in order for me to get by. So, I mean, I became a parent, an individual parent, not really truly co-parenting, when my son was not even 2. So he doesn't even remember having 2 parents in the same house. He doesn't know anything else. So at least emotionally, I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about trying to make up for something or trying to, make him extra happy. It's like whatever I say it is what it is. And so that for me was a blessing. I didn't have to worry about that particular thing. But at the same time, you don't have to try to make up for someone else either. You are a mom. You're the mom. If the dad is not there, you got to ask God for, like, who are these people that are supposed to speak into this kid from that perspective? and that they be good people, and that they, that you have enough discernment to help select those people. The other thing I would say is I had nannies, I have family, I have and I'm fortunate enough to have family here in Houston. I wasn't as close to them when I first moved here because they were older than me. So, like I was a kid in high school and they were like grown and married, right? So there's an age gap. But at the same time, I started to reach out to them and I started to build that relationship. So I mean, it just became my group, my tribe. When you don't have that, sometimes you do have to rely on paying somebody, and that's okay. There were times where I worked camps and I literally, the money that I made from that camp, I had to turn it all of it over to the babysitter
Yep.
just so I could go, just so I could be exposed to another group of people so I could network. I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna make any money. Sometimes I thought I was, and at the end of the day, I really didn't. Thinking I'm making at least 300 and I'm getting $50 and a smile, and I got to take it and I have to give it over to the babysitter. But I think changing that, just your verbiage. I'm real big on words, so like I don't even let anybody put me in that category. I
I
just
say head
don't.
of household because I hold it down. That's what I tell people all the time.
That,
I was like, I hold it down. I'm
on the
head of
text.
household.
I mean, like, regardless of, even though everything is new and all that, like, I'm not new to this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna make something happen because that's all I know how to do. I've never really had a village. I've always kind of done or had to do it kind of on my own. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, yes, I take it all, and it I'm an overthinker first. And so after I go through those emotions and after I have that, I will manage my emotions. I will manage what it is that I'm trying to do. And I'm a planner. So I will sit, and me and Miss Erin have had these conversations as well. And she has made me sit and, write down what it is that you do already have and what it is that you need, and then connect those dots. And so I have, started trying to build relationships as far as like our academic advisor left. So she is somebody that I know that I couldn't count on. It comes to sometimes me having to let somebody help me as well because I am so used to doing it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's all of us.
Yeah.
Paula gets on me, and I get on her. Both we do the same thing. But the other thing is being flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I will. I'm at work right now. I am. Now I'm done with my teaching for the moment. I'm on my off period. But the truth is, I'm at work right now. But let me tell you what I will do. The moment that this job is not conducive to my household, I'm out.
Right.
I'm gone. I don't care what it is. If it's detrimental to home, I gotta go. And that is why I keep my business. Like I still, when I walked into this job, I woke up that morning and I was like, I guess I'll go get a job today. I applied for the job. They called me at 10 o'clock. By 2:30, I was interviewing. I had the job by 8. when but I knew I needed to make that shift that day. I made that shift. I'm here. I'm grateful I'm here because during the pandemic, it's been the stability that we needed, been able to buy a home, the one that I wanted, in the neighborhood that I wanted, all of those things. But the second I have to make an adjustment, the adjustment is there, but my business is always there. And I told them that in the interview, and they knew. But I asked for a place to work where they understand family, and that's what this place is. And I'm saying that to say, put that on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I need a job where they'll allow me to bring my family in. Every job I know, my son is sitting right there. My last NBA game, he's sitting right on the floor. If you find the footage, he's on a blanket on the floor. Why? Because the babysitter couldn't get him because the streets were flooded. Had to bring him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the sideline at the football games when I was at the high school, on the treatment table like this, watching his DVD player, and it was loud, and he was just in his zone. He became the little mascot. He even got him a homecoming mom, like the girls had. Like he had everything. Like and those people still follow him. Those high school kids came to his birthday party. They
Yeah.
they check on him now. They saw pictures of him when he turned 16 2 weeks ago, and they still, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of, look for places that support what you need. Don't just look for a place
Right.
with a check.
That's very true. Make
Sometimes the
sure
money may not be exactly what you want it to be, but if it's a better situation for you right then that's what you do until the next thing comes.
it works. It definitely works because I know when I made the transition, a lot of times people are like, "Ooh, online, that's easy." You're at home, but our principal, like, she's amazing. Her and her husband were both coaches. They know that hustle and bustle type of lifestyle, and she was like, for our family, we had to make some changes and make things work. So she actually started the virtual school within our county. And, she'll tell you, even though you're working from home, it's not necessarily your kids could still be there. Like she was like, you still need a nanny because you're still teaching. You still need to be engaging with your students. You can't still have a kid on your hip kind of thing. But the fun thing is you had that flexibility in your hours. You could change. So now when, Z school had mommies with muffins, instead of me trying to rush to be at the high school at 7:20, when school started, I was able to enjoy that moment with her and then start my class at 9 o'clock. It was that flexibility that she provided me and gave me. And then I was able, from that aspect, I could start working my athletic training, freelance stuff in on that, because her big thing is as long as you're getting the hours in and as long as your students are doing well and you're engaging, I don't care where you work from. So I could be, out somewhere covering a track meet, have my computer up. If a student asks a question, I can reply back to them, but I'm still being able to have that freedom to come and go when I want. And so that was one of the big things that I really enjoyed. And that was something that kind of, drawed me to that opportunity when it did come up and arise. So, yeah.
All right, so let's say Kay is dead set on working with high school sports when she graduates in May. Okay, so what are some of the things that she needs to do to speak to in the interview, to set in place, to prepare for, to work in high school sports for at least 1 year? How are we going to help her prepare? And then, so while you guys are thinking, Paula, I think I'm going to start with you, okay? I'm going to start with you. But we have Eugene Wood saying, hey, Dr. Hessler, thanks for the conversation, and he's really enjoying it. And then Gabriella Zoe Nyla.
That's my cousin. Thank you, Village.
So Gabriella is your cousin or Eugene?
Oh, Eugene is my cousin.
Okay. So then Gabriella says, thank you. You guys are awesome. And so thanks for having this conversation and being open and sharing. So they're watching live on Facebook and sharing there. But Paula, what does Kay need to do to prepare for that job next year if she's working in the high school?
So, Kay, it depends on where you're going to, what state you're going to work in. I will say in Texas and most likely probably everywhere, there are jobs that require teacher cert. There are jobs that don't require teacher cert. There are just different, different types of things. But what I will say is working in a high school, what my experience has been is that are looking for team approach. I mean, you're part of the staff of the school. And although we're athletic trainers, we're still teachers. And so being able to really express how you, to me, what'll set you apart is how you want to be part of the school culture and bring that through the athletic training room as your experience and be able to strengthen the school through what you do with the student athletes and what you bring to the school from an educational perspective. So it depends on if you're being hired through the AD or if you're being hired through the principal, because it's different in different states and different schools. So, but I will say if you are willing to move to Texas, please see Erin and myself and the community here. There are plenty of jobs here in Texas. Even at Houston Methodist, we have a what do you call it? What is it, Erin? Not an internship.
Residency outreach.
The residence,
Yeah.
the residency program, where you can get some hands-on experience and still continue to learn more from a physical therapy perspective. However, it's being in the schools and having that experience, that guided experience. And so that's an option too. If you're interested in that, please, give me a ring after this. But I will definitely say, just expressing how your passion about athletic training, girl. I mean, kudos to you, because I am only licensed in the state. I'm not nationally certified because I took the test, and I'm not shame. I took that test 3 times, and when we were taking it, you had to pass all 3 at the same time, and it was a booger. And I would pass one, fail one, pass 2, fail. I mean, by a point. And so I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I am literally here in the state of Texas, but like Erin said, there's power in words, there's power in showing up, there's power in your presence, and I don't let anything stop me. And I see that in you as well. Get what you want, but express your passion about athletic training, and that will get you, in my opinion, get you the job that you want.
I know here in Florida, so at least not the whole state of Florida, where I am locally, they actually outsource to like the PT clinic or PT,
yes.
and so I've actually been fortunate enough to where my preceptor is a supervisor of her region. And so I feel like if the opportunity, and she herself is an athletic trainer, her husband is an athletic trainer, and they have a 6-year-old. And so I've actually been able to pick her brain and talk to her and find out, like, how is it as far as if I do need to bring her or whatever. And she's open to it. They're open to it. Like, her son is with us every day until if dad gets done with games first, he'll pick up. He's at a aftercare that's literally directly across the street from the school. So those are things that I have been trying to take into consideration. Like, hey, I can put her into a school that's going to be by wherever school that I'm going to be. So therefore I can go and pick her up, and she would just have to hang out. So, I mean, the more that I speak to women like you all, it does help me put things into perspective and help me figure out how I'm going to go about this or what it is that I'm going to do, because I am basically winging it. I'm accomplishing and doing these things as they come, but I don't know what I'm doing. Basically, like,
That's
I
life.
tell my
That's
daughter,
everybody.
That's life. That's life.
yeah, this is my first time being a mom. This is your first time being a child. We figuring it out together, and I do want to take it. Like, I mean, she's only 9, but when she comes for spring break, I want to have a conversation with her. This is what mommy is thinking about doing. Though she doesn't have a say so necessarily, I hate it when my mom was basically, this is what it is, and not have a conversation. So even though this is what it's going to be, I want to have her input and see how she feels about these things, because just it has been an adjustment for her, just between going back and forth, and we're used to being with each other all day every day, and she's always been close with her dad as well, but we were it has been majority me and her, when she's not with him on the weekends or that type of stuff. So I just want to make sure that I'm not gonna do anything to hinder her, and that is basically where it all came from. But I'm thankful to be able to talk to women like you, because it puts a lot of stuff in perspective, or you guys say things or phrase things in ways that I never thought about it like that, or you don't think about it until you hear somebody else say it, or you might say it a different way. And so I'm very appreciative even just of this conversation, because just in these moments I've started having lightning bolts, like, okay, yeah, I can write this down, I can think about doing it this way. I can reach out to this person, and as of right now, y'all my village. I tell them
That's
this
and that's the point.
like, I'm thankful for meeting her when I did during the summertime. I actually when we started talking, it was one of my difficult times, because one of my classmates had just passed away, literally like the week before. And she was one of the people that, when she had off time from a clinical or whatever, my daughter would be over there with her. So like that right there was relationships. But, after her passing, I got close with her family. And her family, even though they're in Miami, I know that if anything was to happen, I can reach out to them. And 3 hours is easier than 11 hours from her dad.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So anyway, that's my little spiel for that part. But I'm thankful for y'all just right now, just from having these conversations.
No problem. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to
Yeah.
help each other.
I was, and just kind of going back to that question, the only thing advice I would give is when you're looking at high schools, um, just be aware of their, I guess, a presence of their athletic trainers within the county. What their expectations is, because I know you said like over in Hillsboro, that's kind of
Well,
where.
I'm in
Okay,
Pasco.
past. Okay, so like in that area, most of them are outreach, you know, athletic trainers, things like that. Just know the presence that the athletic trainers have, as far as are they expecting you to teach classes? Are they expecting you only to show up at 3 o'clock?
Hmm.
Are you going to be the only athletic trainer at that high school? Those are going to be all important questions that sometimes people don't think about because they just get excited when they see a job opening somewhere, because I know I'm a person, I like the team approach. I like to be able to bounce ideas off of people. So if I was ever at a high school where I was the only athletic trainer there, I probably wouldn't have thrived as much as I have. But fortunately, where I've been located, oh gosh, we have like 20, 21, 22. They keep popping up high schools here in Orlando. It's ridiculous. At every high school, we have 2 to 3 athletic trainers. So I always had like a toolbox of people that I could go through and ask, because there's probably not a situation that it's been the first occurrence. So I could just kind of throw out feelers and be like, hey, has anybody encountered this? How did you handle it? What did you do? And always had that response back. So if you have a good AT present within that area, you're never working necessarily by yourself, because I know there's been cases where something did happen with athletic trainers and all of their athletic trainers at the school couldn't cover. And they'll be real quick to call one of us and be like, hey, I know this is your off night. Can you please come over and cover this event? And we just get it cleared with our admin and we'll go over there and cover and, flip flop and switch. So it's nice to have that camaraderie of other, they may not necessarily be your village, but they're your professional village that
Hmm.
can help you professionally when things do occur family wise. So always take that into consideration. And that's awesome how you said they have their son there. So that that's already a family oriented style that, they're going to be willing and open and accepting.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say at the high school as well. The parents making a strong connection with the parents is very important. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about it's not about the injury. It's not about the clinical skills that you have. It's about I'm here for your kid.
Hmm.
Right.
I will treat your kid like I would treat my kid. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing that before I had kids. So I think for me, it's the thing that has allowed me to move through the industry and continue. I don't like to say that high school is below college and college is below, you know, pro sports.
Right.
It's just where you are at the moment. There are profession, athletes that are at the profession, athletic trainers that are in professional sports, sports and entertainment, because that's what it is at that level, who would love to work at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's just where you are at the moment. But when you're in that high school setting, every parent wants to make sure that their kid is okay. If you can reassure them that you're going to do what you would do for your kid, you're good. I mean, I had parents, like I told you, I had parents come to his kindergarten graduation.
Mm-hmm.
My football parents came to that. My football kids and mom, because the kid didn't drive yet,
Right.
brought the quarterback to my son's birthday party because he was like, I'll dress up in a costume for him, whatever you want to do. Like they followed him, he followed them around when it was time for trophy time and stuff. My kids in the championship picture holding the trophy up. They're like, who is that kid? He's always there, but someone was always able to look out for him. He has big brothers, he's got big sisters, but he also had aunts and uncles in the school parents, because you never know. Some of them may, let's say their kid played softball, but they might watch your kid during football season.
Right.
Hmm.
You don't know, but if you make those connections with them, then you have it. And even now, as my son is older, in middle school, he went to private school. Those coaches really, really looked out for him. Now he didn't stay, he only stayed 1 year for other reasons, but as far as the relationship with them, they asked me to be the athletic trainer on site. I did it. I still have that as a contract, but they still make sure my kid is all right, whether he's at that school or not. They still ask about him. They still check on him. If I need anything, all I got to do is send a text or pick up the phone. So just at the high school level, it's about connections. And you'll find that you'll have people support you on and off the field. It doesn't have to be a blood relative. Seriously, it doesn't.
I think one of the things that you said a second ago, Kay, was you have to let people help you. And I think that's something that even I struggle with. Like I said, I'm married. I have 3 kids. My wife's parents live close by. You know, we have friends at church and things like that. And I still have trouble just saying, hey, can you help me? You know, so anything you wanted to add on specifically her first job that she needs to look out for? Because the next thing I would like to ask Dr. Abner is, how did you, as a single, or as Erin put it, individual mom, pursue a doctorate degree? And so that's what I want to go to next. But anything else y'all have for Kay?
I did a lot of praying when I was ready to kind of take that leap and I knew I needed to make a transition. I did a lot of praying just to try to figure out what move I needed to do. And ideally, it's really funny. I had a vision that I was like, oh my goodness, okay, well, now that athletic training is moving to masters, they're going to want to hire individuals with a doctorate degree. So my goal was, I was like, if I could get into the, collegiate setting, not necessarily doing on the athletic training realm, but more in the instructional side, that was where I was heading, because I know that job was, like we said, more your 9 to 5, but I still wanted to be like hands deep in athletic training. I didn't want to forego athletic training, period. I wanted to still be able to build the profession and have my hands written all over it as we, make this transition and go through everything. So when the vision hit, they're like, you need to get your doctorate degree so that you can make that transition into the collegiate realm. I was full go. Like, I think I had the dream in June, and I started at AT Still that August. Like, I had it, I think it was like a week before NATA. So then when I went to NATA, I was in the exhibit hall looking at all the different doctorate programs they had out there and the different schools that they were offering. And I just started talking to a couple of different individuals. Probably right after that, I applied, got in, started the program, and, went from there. It was, when I think back, I don't know how I did it, because I was a crazy person. I knew I was on a 2-year plan. I wanted to finish that degree in 2 years. So I took the max number of classes. I still held down my full-time job. I don't know how I did it. People are like, you were insane. But I just knew within 2 years, by the time my daughter hit 3rd grade, I wanted to be in that transition so that she could move on and start doing more, of the sports. At that time, she was doing swimming and gymnastics. And so at that time, I wanted to be able to focus more on those areas. But I mean, it was prayer. It was a lot. Like, I even think now, I took that blind faith because I was so sure that collegiate was going to be where I wanted to be at, that, the last year I was in school, I actually left the high school because the high school knew I was leaving. I hired people I could kind of train them up and everything. So when I left, I wasn't going to leave them empty handed because, like I said, I opened that school. That was like my baby. I've been there for like 18 years. That was it was like another child of mine, that program and building everything up. So when I knew that they were ready, I told them, and I took that year off just to finish up, my doctorate degree. And like I said, I was laser focused on getting a collegiate job until one day, one of my girlfriends called. She was like, we are in dire need of an online teacher. Like, would you be willing to do it? And now I think about it, I'm like, do I want a collegiate job? Like, do I want to actually have to go in somewhere and report and clock in? Or is this nice? So I do really like it. And I still work, as an adjunct at a college. So I still have my hands in it, maybe not as involved as I would like, but, it's still there. And so everything changes. Like we said, it morphs and changes. You wake up one day with one dream, and then next thing you know, you're blessed with something different that works with your family 10 times better.
Before
Yeah.
Aaron speaks, because this is their area of expertise. Jeremy, I just
Oh,
want to thank you for providing this opportunity and forum for us to talk about this. This is amazing. I'm
Oh
going to
yeah.
have to sign off for a hospital meeting, but it has been a pleasure to share with all of your viewers, Jeremy, and with you ladies. Honored to be on the platform this morning. Thank you for listening to my stories, and I am available if anybody wants to know more. And if anybody wants any help with anything, we are open and we are a community of love and love to share and be able to take you to the next level. Okay. We're here for you. Let
media
us know.
request. Your media requests, I'll take them for you.
Absolutely. Erin can
Yes.
handle it. She knows where I am. So thank you again, Jeremy. And thank you, Erin, for inviting me. And it was a pleasure meeting you ladies. And y'all have a great day.
So
You
for the
too.
for the podcast only listeners, you missed the Paula Cook mischievous eyes when she said if you want to know more. So hit up those DMs.
What I was gonna say about the doctor was my son helped me with my homework. That was it. I mean, um, I kind of coach him as a parent, like coaching. I do more of a coaching style. Like, all right, this is what we got to do. Okay, everybody in. He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, okay, let's go. Everybody in. We got to do it. We got to do it. Whatever it is, whatever it is. If it's like we got to clean up the room, or we got to go to such and such. We got to, I have a meeting. You have to ride with me, and I used to ask his teachers for the ISBN numbers off the back of the books, like the barcode,
Mhm.
so that he'd be able to do his work whenever I was working. So he wouldn't be attached to a computer and locked in where, we don't have Wi-Fi or something. If we're outside at a game, like, here's your work. You don't have an excuse. Whatever books they had at school, I actually got on Amazon and other book sites, and I would buy all of his books. So we had duplicates. So number one, I could help him. But number two, there was no excuse in him getting his work done because we wouldn't get home until like super late at night.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as going to school, like she said, it's a lot of prayer. And even when I actually started school, I had custody of my niece, and I took custody of her as a teenager. So I had
Oh.
two completely different kids. One a teenager, and a girl. I was like, oh, too much. There's too many hormones going, and we would just go at it. We would go
Mhm.
at it, but I think it was good for both of us, and um, my village grew even bigger at that time. I mean, I just think whatever you need at the time, you'll get it. You just
Mhm.
have to pray about it
Yeah.
and match the words up with what you want to see.
I got a question real quick for
Oh,
y'all, real quick.
Mhm.
How,
we kind of guided the
huh?
sports. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I was just say like
How did?
the sports that he ended up participating in were based on my schedule. I
Oh,
couldn't let
okay.
him play football. Not that I didn't want to. I'm working football season. We got to deal with whatever's paying the bills. Football pays the bills. That means you can't do soccer or football right now. You got to do something in the off season, and it's,
Mhm.
I mean, that's just work.
Did
So
did any of those like late nights, as far as like having them with you guys late, or did it affect anything academically, or them waking up in the morning the next day? Like, how what's
so
late, or like that's what my main thing. One of them is too, like her waking up
you
the next morning
you got
from late. Okay, just
be
what is okay.
being flexible, be adaptable, be an athletic trainer. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I have to really like it took until this Christmas for like my mom and I to really for her to really like lock into what I'm saying. Like Christmas break is my only window off.
Right.
Even if I want to come home for Christmas break, it's my only window off for me to not do anything, not clean up after nothing. And so I didn't go home this Christmas because I just needed a minute. It's a lifestyle because I know as soon as I come back, I'm going right back into it. With the sleep thing, I literally kept a stroller, like that
Mhm.
little foldable thing. Sometimes they used to have the little canopy on top. I didn't get the canopy one, but I had one of those until he was 9. Why? Because he would fall asleep in the car on the way
Mhm.
home. We lived in a one bedroom apartment at the time. He had the bedroom. It was like a loft bed, so I can't get him up the loft bed to get him in the bed. I would come in from work, double park the car, put the flashers on, go in the apartment, pump up the air mattress, come back out to the car, put him in the stroller, and he's like 9, 7, like, yeah, he was like 8.5, 9, and I would roll him back in, and then I would dump him like a wheelbarrow on the air mattress and come back out and move the car. I
Yeah.
mean,
It just what?
it
Listen,
just
my
Yeah.
baby almost
but see,
5 feet one. I'm not picking her up. I can. She's
no,
Yeah.
same
he's too big.
same size.
I wasn't picking him up, but then
Oh, I'm like she gonna have to wake up.
Yeah, they'll sleepwalk. Like I know Zaria, when she was younger, I used to have like a pop-up playpen that I kept in the athletic training room, that kind of thing. But as
hmm
she got older, we would always, and the high school I worked at was probably about 20, 25 minutes from our house. We lived on opposite sides of Orlando. And so I would take her in the girls' locker room. She would change into her PJs. We would brush our teeth. And so when she did
hmm
fall asleep in the car, especially when she got older, she wasn't fully awake. She would sleepwalk. Like I would just, get her out of the car and she would walk, even though she doesn't even remember the whole drive home. But she never had really an issue waking up in the morning because that was our normal. Like that's just what she was always used to was,
Okay.
getting up, things like that. But my child, she's also a night owl. Like once she got probably past like 5 or 6, she would stay up. Like it'll be a couple times where she'll fall asleep on the way home, but normally she stays up. Even now, I'm trying to yell at her to get in bed at like 9:30. I'm like, all right, mom's tapping out. I gotta go to bed. I can't take it anymore. And she's like, all right. And she comes and tucks me in and gives me a kiss goodnight
yeah.
because she's just a night owl kind of person. Like that's just her. She's always been that way. But it's never affected her
Yeah.
school. I've never had a teacher call and say, oh, she's falling asleep in class. She's so tired. Like never had any of that because we squeezed in homework
Okay.
in the athletic training room. So when she got home, she didn't have to do anything. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
That would be where knowing your environment works, especially at the high school, knowing whether or not they make you clock in at a certain time or if they're going to give you the leeway to move
Mhm.
around based on the number of hours that you have to spend there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to like during those times come in maybe like 9:30,
Right.
so they would give him enough time to sleep because I
Mhm.
would take the late.
I
And
don't
then
have to be in until like 1:30.
oh,
Oh, perfect. So you just have to worry about his
perfect.
school time or her school time.
That's
You just have to worry
perfect.
about her school time.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing, like now that I'm listening to y'all, because y'all sound like 11, 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? I won't be there that late.
Sometimes it
Like,
was.
No.
If you go to the emergency room, if someone got
Right.
hurt after that
true.
game, I'm going to the emergency
Right.
room.
Varsity
So
football.
first thing I do in the emergency room is I walked in and I would say, I need a wheelchair blanket and a pillow. And they'd be like, what? I'm like, yeah, wheelchair blanket, pillow. And I dump him in it and I would
Mhm.
put him in the wheelchair, cover him up. And then we just sit at the hospital until
Right.
that kid was taken care of or the parent came or whatever it was that happened. I've taken them to the emergency room plenty of times and then we don't get home until late. Um,
Okay.
at the
But
collegiate level, I'm sorry.
that wasn't a norm. Like
No.
No,
No.
but you got to be
that
ready
was
for
on
it.
those emergency
Yeah,
situations.
but you got to be ready for it any day. It can happen
Right.
any day,
True.
at any time. You got to always have gas in the car,
Mhm.
enough money on the card to park at the hospital, enough money to feed them when you get there,
Mhm.
um, and a blanket in the car doesn't hurt. It's just like keeping your rain gear in the car. Like be ready all the time.
It's a jump.
When I at the collegiate level, I was traveling. I had to be at work at like 5:30 in the morning or even earlier for morning practice football. And then, we're traveling. So I'm traveling all over the place. We're riding a bus, we're flying out. Um, he was in middle school at that time. And I think it did affect him. I'm not gonna lie and say it didn't. It did affect him, because he was going to the games at night with me. He would go to the game
Mhm.
at night. We don't get out till 11:30, and he'd have to be at school at 7. And the teacher did say something about it, and I said, okay, I know the drill. I know the drill. I know about mandated reporting. I'm not getting turned in. I pulled him out of school and I homeschooled him for 2 years because I refused to allow anybody to report me for being a hardworking parent. You're
Mhm.
not, I mean, he's not neglected. He's just sleepy. And I was like, if you come to school late in the morning for music, do not tell them you were on ESPN last night. And he's coming in like, yeah, I was on TV last night. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do don't do that. So eventually we just I pulled him out. And I set up my office at work. I had a desk and he had a desk, and then I paid somebody to come in and facilitate the lessons. And I had another lady drive him, like I paid for her to drive him from home at like 8 o'clock so he could sleep in and bring
Okay.
him to school, and then he could do his work on like a regular school day. And
Okay.
I'd already been at work at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So, you do what you got to do, and then
Mhm.
Yep.
then when it changes, you do something else.
I get it. I understand.
Jeremy, did we leave the topic?
No, that's what this conversation is for. I am not a single mom, and so the things, the questions that Kay has, she's dealing with this now. It doesn't get any better than,
Yeah.
hey, I'm about to hit this. What do I do? And you guys have been there, so it's as good as it
I don't
gets.
know.
So Erin, you made a lot of adjustments, right? And then Dr. Abner, you also said you've made a lot of pivots and shifts. What do you think has
Mhm.
been the best part about being an athletic trainer and a mom?
You got it, Doc. You go first. I'll go
Uh,
second.
Um, I just like, especially because I do a lot of stuff with Special Olympics too. I just like the different exposures that my daughter has been around. She knows how to handle, an individual with special needs all the way through, collegiate athletes. Because, especially if I'm working sometimes doing other things, she's been there with me. And that's nice because I like, because I tell her she's too young to diagnose, because she'll come home, she's like, Mommy, I know such and such did this in PE class and everything. She's like, I told him to ice and to elevate. So I like to see that little mini thing, things when she tells her
Mm.
classmates. But I also like, a couple weeks ago when we went to a theme park, because like we said, Florida's wide open. And there was a girl behind us that was special needs, and her friend kind of shied away from the girl because she was like, oh, she's a little different. But because of athletic training and because Zaria's been in that, realm of different people, of different intellects and different, physical ability, she made a friend. She talked to that little girl. She, welcomed her. And if I wasn't in this profession, she wouldn't have been that exposed to all the different things that she has been exposed to that makes her, I think as a better person that she's going to eventually grow up to be.
I agree. So I would have to say my answer would be the same. Jeremy he said he was going to let me screen share. I wanted to show y'all something real quick. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
well, it's coming
Yeah.
up. There we go. Hakeem
So
Olajuwon.
expo- exposure, that's probably the biggest thing. Like I said, he's gone everywhere I go. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that, I mean, it's what I ask for when I come to any space. Like, can I bring my kid? Can I show him around? Can I at least let him see what I do so he can see, how this affects his life? And so the perks are things like this. This was his 10th birthday. Who goes to see in the same day you meet Chris Paul, Elijah Wan, Trevor Ariza, and you get a Harden autograph all in the same day for your 10th birthday? Like who
Mm-hmm.
gets to do that? I mean, it blows my mind, and that actually comes from my athletic training village. I have relationships with the athletic trainers there, um, and their families. For him to be able to go back here, this is in the loading dock. This is by the locker room, and to even be able to go in the locker room and hang out with those athletes, to be able to take those memories with you. And now that I'm with um, USA Track and Field and working with these Olympic athletes, um, it started when he was a youth track athlete. These people come and see him in my office. I mean, he gets to see them in my office. Whatever it is, if he needed advice, he has a whole bunch of brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles that are on posters and billboards and all that kind of stuff. And it's not about the fame, but it's about the access, so that he's in a position to be able to do anything that he wants to do. And he's already, I mean, they remember him from being little. And as they see him mature, it puts him in position to be able to access those relationships and nurture those relationships. I think whatever my kid wants to do, there's no stopping him.
Right.
And
And
a
I
lot
think
of it
that's
has to do
awesome.
with exposure I've given him. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I would say that's awesome because I was just thinking too, with our athletic population that we work with, that's all different walks of life. So Zaria was able to be exposed to, you know, at my high school, we had a lot of homeless students that, lived in hotels. She was exposed to those, those other, in that her case, students or other athletes that she talked to, all the way up to the ones that were well off. But she knew that, she has that mindset that where you come from is not necessarily where you're going to end up. So those students that were homeless, that were, busting their butt with their schoolwork because they wanted to get out, they relied on schoolwork and athletics. She knows that where they started isn't going to be where they ended up. So that was a good aspect. And I think it also led her to see where we see the opposites, where you have this athlete that has all this God given talent, but they're a horrible person. And that talent doesn't always translate well across the board. They're amazing on the field, but they're just horrible overall. And, and she'll come and she's like, "Mommy, why are they like that? Why do they have to be like that? Why did they leave their ice bag on the treatment table? The trash is right next to the door on the way out." Like, and so she's one of those people where now she cleans up, she organizes, she wants to leave a space better than how she found it. And I think that was just little lessons that she saw in the athletic training room where some people did, some people did not, and it all helps mold their personality. That's all it is. You see what you like and what you don't like, and if you don't like it, you do the opposite.
Your daughter sounds like my daughter.
If she is, then dear, I pray for you because sometimes I'm like,
no,
Jesus.
She's not for sure.
I tell my child that she's been on this earth before. If I believed in reincarnation, this is definitely her probably third or fourth time around. She's not a newbie on this earth. She's definitely more wise beyond the years that she's physically been here.
I agree. So. It's a gift.
All right. As we close it up, I'm going to ask for one sentence, like a billboard slogan or something that you would use to encourage moms, and then we'll leave it with that. So while you're thinking about your one key takeaway, one key lesson that you're gonna just end it up with, I'll do some of the housekeeping stuff. So on social media, I'm Mr. Jeremy Jackson. You can find me, reach out that way, and I can connect you with any of these ladies that can share their story or join and walk beside you. Or again, this is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single mom ATs. And as they talked about the availability of online courses, I partner with physicaltherapy.com, and then you go to physicaltherapy.com/one free course, physicaltherapy.com/one free course, and it'll get you started. And they also have, I think it's $99 for a full year of CEUs, so that way you can take classes online and you can do them on your own schedule and do it within a budget. And then maybe you're not paying out so much of that weekend tournament money for childcare because you're not having to go to courses as well. All right. So, Kay, we're going to start with you. What is your one takeaway or one last word of encouragement for individual mom ATs?
So for me, I always say you never know what you can do until you have no other option. That for me, or you never put all your energy into things that you don't have control over. Those two things have helped me a lot. I was always a parent who worked 3 jobs at a time, just did whatever it was that I needed to do. For me, it is more so whatever it is that you want to do, there's no limit in doing it. And you might not do it on your timing that you think is your timing, but for me, I knew athletic training was what I wanted to do. Life happened, but I knew I was going to get back to it because that's where my heart was. So I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do to make my dreams come true. And I want my daughter to realize that as well. So it's never too late. I'm your non-traditional student. I have lived life and it's still doable. no matter what age or whatever it is that you're going through. Like, whatever you want to do, it's possible.
All right, Dr. Hessler.
So I got to do this one more time. Favorite person. Um, I don't know if it showed, but yeah, there it is. So the thing that I would say, my favorite person, because that's his degree too, you know, um, would be athletic training as a lifestyle. And when I say that, it means the way that we operate in our workspace, being flexible, being um, willing to work hard, uh, being a problem solver. If you can use that in your day to day and in your parenting, you'll be okay. I think if it's when you separate the two, it's almost like coaches are coaches all the time. Period. They're coaches all the time. If you take them off the court, I mean, off the court or off the field, they're probably going to coach the dog to go poop, right? They don't know how to separate it. And I think we have to make what we do so believable so that the athletes will trust us. I mean, it's that's what it is. The way that we operate at work, if you take some of those principles or a lot of those principles into the way you operate at home, when the schedule changes at work, what do? You still got to show up. Still got a game. They rain out. Now it's at 6 instead of at 4. I wanted to get off. I wanted to go to that wedding. I needed to go to that funeral. Whatever it is, you make the adjustment for work. Make the adjustment for the people that are the most important to you. And then I think you'll be able to find that balance. And hopefully it'll swing where you're putting more of that energy into those people than the workspace. Because then when you do that, then you'll be able to increase your value in the workspace. Because you know how I am about being paid equitably. But I think we'll be able to earn better pay and be able to pick the jobs that you want. So that's what I got. And thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. I know I got a t-shirt up at the top. I got another one for you that's on the way in. I did want to say that I'll put some information out. I do have my background here. We'll be having the Sisterhood Mixer June 17th, 2021. It will be virtual. That is for women of color in athletic training, which is how I met Kay. And Shondra did come with us when we were where? Were we in Vegas?
Vegas.
I think we were in Vegas, and that was when I on the podcast with Jeremy and Alicia Pennington at the AT Advantage. So I'll be talking to you about that and get some more information to you. But the website is sisterhood.net, thesisterhood.net, and you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at AT Sisterhood.
Perfect.
I got it.
And I just want to say thank you for having me today. My, I guess, words would be a little different. I am a big component on, self-care, self-love. It's not being selfish. A lot of times as even athletic trainers, as mothers, we're always willing to bend over backwards to make things work. And sometimes, even if it's at the cost of our own personal health and, sometimes even sanity at some time, just making sure that you are remembering to take a step back every once in a while to take care of yourself as an individual. Because if you are not a whole, healthy individual, you are not going to make a good athletic trainer or a good mother. And so a lot of times I think we forget to kind of take that time to breathe, tell people, I just need a little bit instead of always being on the go, go, go. Then that's my word of advice is, take care of yourself, that self-love. Not being selfish, it's taking care of yourself to make sure that you could be the best person for every other individual that's relying on you.
All right, and then again, before we close it out, I'm going to ask you for the best way to contact you. I know, Erin, you already mentioned the AT Sisterhood, so I'm going to ask you for the best way to contact you. Brandon Holland said, great pick. I think he was talking about the Akeem Olajuwon one there, but maybe the DAT one as well. And
that's our classmate.
Again, Gabriella, Zoe, Nyla has been super active in the chat. Thank you for being there and encouraging. Keith Garnett has been checking in as well. Like I said, the
Hey, Key.
Eugene Wood. So all of those
That's
have commented live.
Samantha
And,
Nyla out at North
oh, that's Sam Nyla. Oh,
That's Sam. Yeah.
Sam's my buddy. I love Sam. Okay, all right, Sam. I wish I would have known that. I would have made some more comments, but I love Sam Nyla out at North Shore. So sweet. All right, best way to contact you, Dr. Abner.
To Shondra.
Sorry. You can either do email or my, I guess, social media. All my social medias are pretty much the same. It's Shondra Abner on Instagram and on Facebook. On Twitter, it's tbird_01. And then email is just my first name, tashandra.abner01@gmail.com.
All right, Kay. Yep, you're on mute. Kay, you're on mute.
I said I don't have a plug like everybody else, so maybe just Instagram at Muscles and Mascara at 2016.
Muscles and
Oh, that's you?
mascara.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, I had a personal training business for a while, and then it just turned into like my athletic training stuff.
Sometimes it does that, and sometimes you mix it up. You both, so you never know where you end up.
All right, interesting. It's just part of your story.
But I appreciate
I appreciate you all so much. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, Jeremy, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeremy, thank you. This is my first time meeting you, but I look forward to speaking to you again sometime in the future. Miss Erin, thank you so much for inviting me. I learned a lot from you all. I'm appreciative of you all. Miss Dr. Abner, you will hear from me soon as well. So you're on mute.
I said only an hour away, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
Look at that village. Look at that village.
Yes, we'll be making a visit. So hopefully outside will be opening up kind of soon for us. You know, we're open, but we still got to wear masks and all that good stuff. So.
All right. Well, like I said, this is sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single mom ATs, sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single mom ATs. I appreciate y'all being open and willing to share your story and to educate me. And one last thing I didn't ask, so I guess we'll just kind of make it quick, is what do you feel like is the best thing that I can do to help you as a single or individual mom athletic trainer?
I think you're doing it.
I don't know if can we do that quick?
I think you're doing it.
Okay.
Like this is good. I mean, I never thought about having that conversation. Not like that. I mean, so when you asked me, I was like, I am, huh? I guess that I am, right? Oh, okay. I don't know. Sure, we'll talk about it. But I think this was good. Giving us a platform was great.
I agree, because I know in the county that I work in, even though it's big, I was the only one that's in this situation. So I didn't have anybody else to ask questions. So just making other people aware that they're not on an island by themselves and it is doable. You know, it's not possible. You don't have to go back to school and change your whole entire career because, you know, life happens, kind of thing. So I think this was awesome, just to kind of get our stories out there and let people know that they're not alone.
Oh, one more thing. I think maybe, you know, when we start talking policy, you know, you and I met with the World Federation, and there may be some other opportunities to talk policy with people about workplace environment, because there is no such thing as a substitute in athletic training. Mm-hmm. You're going to come to work or you're going to lose that day or something, you know, come to work half sick and still showing up for a game. Like there has to be another plan for that. So maybe figuring that part out, because it's not part of the regular subsystem in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm all in. I love that idea.
All right, let's work on it.
All right, Kay, anything that you think that I could do to help you as a single or individual mom athletic trainer?
Again, I think I agree that you're already doing it. I love the fact that I get to see women that look like me, that have gone through the same struggles that I have gone through, or, you know, have gone through struggles that I didn't go through so that I don't have to go through the struggles. So I'm appreciative of just having this platform and being able to be, exposed to this. So just the exposure, I think you're doing a great job with just opening up and having these talks.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you very much. So again, sportsmedicinebroadcast.com/single Mom ATs for Jeremy, Dr. Hassler, Dr. Abner, Kay, who's working on her graduate degree, and Paula Cook, who had to bounce on us earlier, and everybody that was in the chat. That is a wrap. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Great job.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
Bye.
you.